From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rocklin, California, it's Coach's Rize Time with Coach C. Collins.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1.
Coach's Rize Time.
Hey, how you doing? It's Coach C. Collins. I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, I'm Coach C. Collins. I just talk about a little bit of AAU basketball, give some tips. I dabble a little bit in the red pill community, talk some personal commentary, some political stuff. I really try to more or less just get my views on things, and it's just kind of a sideshow for my About That Life podcast. If you're here and you're subscribing, appreciate you. Thank you. If you got a quick second, go maybe hit the subscribe. If you don't like it by the end, that's okay too. Leave a comment. If you're checking up on YouTube, if you're listening to the audio side, go ahead and hit that follow and check it out. Either way, just glad you're here taking a couple minutes out of your day or evening or wherever you're at to listen to a few words from me. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about the experience of the UA circuit. So for any of you guys who've been watching me or watching my channel, you've seen the docuseries and the progression of things I've been doing with putting my AAU team on the Under Armour circuit. And, I talked about, the overall preliminary sessions, what to expect, what it looked like. But I wanted to talk about the conclusion of it. So with overall my UA 17U team that was on the Rize circuit, I believe we went 9-5 or 10-5, something like that, which is really good considering it's our first year on that circuit. The teams are super competitive. One thing I can say about having a team on a shoe circuit, there are definitely colleges there. At one point, I saw Patino, I saw Juwan Howard, I saw Patrick Ewing. Like there were colleges there in the arena. The atmosphere was very intense. If you want to check out more, please go on my YouTube channel. You can literally see, our closing in Atlanta. I'm hoping going to have some more episodes up there from Oakland, and then our last tournament in Vegas and how that went. So, a lot of good stuff. Shout out to Johan and Mirrors Media for all he's doing, making this stuff happen. Shout out to Shelly, Photos for You. She's doing a phenomenal job with her media and photos and things like that. So I'm very fortunate to have a media team that, I can call on to make a lot of these things happen. So let's get right to it. So the UA circuit ended in Atlanta, Georgia. It was super competitive. Every team played until the last day. Obviously, the team that made it the furthest to the championship, basically what you do is you have pool play first, then bracket play. Your seeding kind of determined your pools, and your seeding was determined by the preceding tournaments, which were, you either went 4-0, 3-1, 2-2, whatnot. And from there, you compete. And, the best analogy I give a lot of the coaches out there and a lot of the kids is these events are a job fair. They're a job fair. And the game is your interview, so you got to put your best foot forward. If you go 0 that's going to hurt against you. If you drop 25, that's going to benefit you. If you take a couple charges, if you box out, if you rebound, if you do these little things, it goes well for getting you acknowledgement. A couple of my guys like Elijah Samdahl, he dropped 22 in a game. Malik Rose and Josiah were pretty consistent. Matthew Schroeder, he had some good stuff. All the boys on the team, I think, played well. Trevor came with us, Trevor Alstead, Cab did well. Eli, Wyatt, just my whole squad. Derek, they're great. And, of course, Dylan, can't forget Dylan and Amari. They're just hilarious. But please check out the docuseries. You'll see more on that. So the big question is it worth it, right? Hopefully we put that on letters somewhere, right? Make sure my producer put that down. Was it worth it? The quick answer is yes. It was worth it overall. Now, this is where I will say it gets a little tricky. We weren't a sponsor team. It wasn't that, Under Armour didn't cut us a check and it paid for our flights and it paid for our travel. That's the biggest cost and thing you're going to deal with if you decide to become a circuit team or advocate to become a circuit team. You have to get your kids there. And obviously fundraising, being a nonprofit, helping businesses use the nonprofit code, things like that. That all helps you. But, you know, it basically costs about, and then throw into a fact what we were dealing with. We were dealing with the war in Russia and Ukraine, inflation at all-time high, the recession, prices of gas going up, prices of airlines going up. I mean, you know, because of that, the price for rental vans goes up. Because think about it, once you get to these locations like inland and stuff like that, you got to be able to drive around. It gets really expensive. And I want to say each kid was about $7,000, $7,000 each kid. Now, again, I get it that, you know, for a lot of people, that's eye-popping. Like, what, $7,000? What I try to describe and make it clear is you're investing. You're going to spend this money regardless. You know, I think, and I could be wrong, I can't remember where I've heard this statistic, but I believe they said the cost is about $200,000 to $250,000 to raise a child in his lifetime anyway, his or her lifetime. So you're going to spend that money regardless. So if you're going to spend the $7,000, wouldn't you want it investing in a potential future that your child is very dedicated in? Doesn't mean it guarantees you a scholarship, but it gives you the highest probability of making that happen. And the good part is a lot of my boys ended up getting a lot of college interest. The seniors I had on my team are all playing collegiate right now at a JC, junior college. I actually advocated for that because the reality is with the transfer portal and with the pandemic, it made things very difficult in terms of kids being able to get seen. So because of all that, I wanted to put my guys in a position where I think they could do well. Now, this is where I will tell you some red flags. Some of the officials, the good part is they're all three-person crews, okay? And hats off to them. A lot of them were very professional, working very hard, but you can tell they are trying out themselves. They're being looked at by NCAA refs that are seniors, maybe even pro refs. Officials that they're trying to impress to move on in their career as well. So sometimes with that, you can get some inconsistency. But I will say most, if not all of them, and I think there was just one official in Indiana gave me a hard time, but all of them are very receptive to communicating. As you know, for me, I always tell coaches, frame things in a question. You know, don't be argumentative. Try to calm your emotions down because in the heat of the moment, it can be difficult. And try to talk to them, and that's what I try to do. I hold myself to that standard. Not saying I do it all the time because I'm far from perfect, but I do the best I can. And that was you know, pretty consistent. It was good there. But some officials will let you play, and it's going to be borderline football out there. And there's some officials that are. In one game, it got called 49 fouls or 42 fouls. It was in one of the episodes. So yeah, you can check that out. 42 fouls in an AAU high level game. That's pretty rough. And I believe it was in our bracket play, so we were trying to move forward. I think we overall ended in 12th or 13th place out of 48 teams. So that's not bad for a first-year program coming right out the gates. So, you know, the shoe circuits are worth the investment as an AAU club and the network potential and the ability to hopefully get seen. You know, it's subjective, I guess, to a degree if the Nike EYBL, the Adidas Gauntlet, or the UA circuit is which one's the best. I guess that's pretty subjective because, in my opinion, looking at it, a lot of the coaches all go to the same events. So it's not like one goes more to the other than the other. I think they just go to the one that's closest to them, honestly. And if they're all in one area, like I believe when we were in Indiana, the Adidas Gauntlet was happening at the same time. They just bounced between both gyms. So, you know, that Nike, I would say, is still king just because it's Nike. Let's be real. When you think of basketball, you equate to basketball sports, it's Nike. Adidas, they get a lot of their revenue from soccer, and UA gets their revenue from football. Now, don't get me wrong, Stephen Curry is their flagship guy now, but it's still, you know, the basketball is not their biggest producer. Not for Nike, I believe it is. So I liked what I saw. I liked the experience. I liked what it did for my kids. All my kids ended up giving interest. We went out there, we competed, played a team from Virginia, played teams from Utah, played team from Detroit, and it's just a lot of good competitive games. I would overall say, you know, for your AU programs, if you're advocating for this to get in these shoe programs, You're going to need some studs because you are playing D1 caliber talent. You're looking at future pros out there. I mean, there was kids coming out on buses and things like that. You're going to see some really good athletes, and you got to have some studs to compete, or at least some kids that really buy in and are willing to work hard. So, and then I will say it's the little things. Kids, if you check this out, or parents, if you take charges, rotate on weak side good, talk, over communicate, box out. If you do these little things and colleges see them, then they understand that they don't have to teach you that later on. So that is the biggest thing overall, I would say, with the UA circuit. But outside of that, it was great events. It was phenomenal to do. It was fun to just see it all happen and be a part of that process. I'm hoping to meet with the director. His name's Adam, to renew my contract. When I talked to him preliminary, he said he wants to. He wants to potentially give me a 16U and a 17U next year. So, for those kids and guys who are maybe listening and, want to come try out, hey, next year, back on the UA circuit, hopefully I'm getting a 3 to 5 year contract, which would be great. And, guys can come out there and do their thing. But overall, it was a good experience. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of stress, but we got through it, and it was an amazing thing. We ended in Vegas. That wasn't a UA event. That was the National Bigfoot, but that's for another day. Check the docuseries, see the journey, and it'll all go from there. But with that being said, we come to a close. I appreciate you for checking out the show. Again, if you feel free, hit the like and subscribe. Check out the main show, About That Life podcast. Everybody stay safe out there. And until next time, I'm out.